Your Daily 180, 180 seconds of pure Bible study.
We're in John chapter 3. We're finishing up John chapter 3. Today we're going to be looking at verse 36, and tomorrow we're going to finish with a discussion of everlasting life found in verse number 36. John 3:36 says, "He who believes in the Son of God has everlasting life, and he who does not believe the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of God abides on him." Life. We want real life. Now it's interesting that inspiration commonly links belief with obedience. Think about the way the book of Romans begins, and oftentimes people talk about Romans and they dismiss obedience, but I want you to notice the way the book begins. By inspiration, Paul would write, "Through him we have received grace and apostleship," now get this, "for obedience to the faith among all nations for his name." Get that? Underline that. Obedience to the faith. The faith is something that we have to obey. Now, consider the way, that's the way the book begins, Romans 1 and verse 5. Now consider the way the book ends. Romans chapter 16, verse number 26. "But now made manifest, and by the prophetic scriptures made known to all nations, according to the commandment of the everlasting God, for obedience to the faith." Now, isn't that interesting? The book of Romans begins with obedience and it ends with obedience to the faith. God expects us to be obedient. Matter of fact, if you want eternal life, you got to be obedient. Hebrews chapter 5 and verse 9 says that Jesus has become the author of eternal salvation to all those who obey him. You know, obedience is not just a mere act of a rote behavior. Obedience is an act of love. Jesus would say, "If you love me, keep my commandments." 1 John chapter 5, verses 1 through 4 talks about our obedience is shown by our love for God, and his commandments are not burdensome. He doesn't ask us to do the undoable. He asks us to do that which makes sense and is beneficial for us. Now, as we do this, there is a great blessing attached to that. We have life, real life, and we have everlasting life. Tomorrow we'll be talking about that. Join us again for your Daily 180.